my dash. No need to go.
Hi, I'm Shar,
And I'm Mar,
and we are cousins by blood.
sisters by choice.
So we just thought we would stop right here in the midst of this most beautiful spot. We're out on some paddle boards, and we saw this. I don't know how to say it. What do you call that, Mar?
Inishuk?
Yeah, and we thought, like, how beautiful is that? And so we thought, hey, let's just stop and talk to YouTube for a little bit. So during our last video, we talked a little bit about things that are transpiring or have transpired in terms of mine and Mar's health. And I thought maybe we could start a little bit with Mar's story, and I'll ask her some questions that maybe you guys are interested in, and she could just authentically answer them. We're not scripted. It's just going to be real and raw the way we are. So I think the first question I would ask that most people want to know, Mar, is first off, what led you to go to a doctor? Like, how you said that you had third stage breast cancer, and how did you find that? Like, were you doing a self breast exam?
Actually, funny enough, I've never done them. And I was just laying in bed one morning and I was stretching, and for some reason, my right hand hit my left breast and I felt something. And then I kept on feeling, and it's like, that's pretty big,
Abnormal,
yeah,
yeah.
pretty big lump, and it was underneath my breast. And so my daughter at the time was about 11 years old, and I called her into the bedroom and I asked her to feel it to confirm what I felt, and she said, "Yeah, Mom, it is." So right away, I got my son and her, ready for school. And as soon as they were gone on the bus, I basically got dressed and started walking to the doctor's office. And when I got there, they said they didn't have any appointments for me to see because I just said I wanted to see the doctor. And she said, sorry. And then I said, well, I just want to let you know I just found a lump in my breast. And right away, she got me in. And so I'm very thankful for that, because from there, everything went so quickly.
So what once you went in and you told her, what tests did you have that ultimately confirmed that you, in fact, that lump was tumorous?
She first sent me for a mammogram and an ultrasound.
Like within that day or a week?
Actually, it was in the week. I mean, it's hard for me to remember because so much happened, but I did write a diary, and from time to time I look into it. And so I believe it was about within 3 days.
Wow.
I guess she knew because the lump was pretty big. It wasn't something that...
And so then from having a mammogram, that was the test that that confirmed you had a breast nodule or tumor?
Yes, they said suspicious. That's what they said. And then she said, actually, when she got the reports that day, she phoned me the next morning, and she said, I'm making you an appointment to see somebody in... it was a biopsy. She said, you need to have a biopsy. So from there, I went to the biopsy, then went back to the doctors, and she said, it is confirmed that it is cancer, and we think it's in your lymph nodes underneath your arm. So she sent me to a
So
surgeon.
they said that your tumor was actually spreading into your lymph nodes.
Yes.
So it was not only in your breast, now it's tracing into your armpit.
Into my armpit, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So from there, I went to see a surgeon, and he told me that we needed to do another biopsy in the underarm. And so again, I went back and had that. And and they confirmed that it was cancerous. But again, they didn't know how much or whatever until we did surgery. So I was scheduled for a lumpectomy and extraction of the lymph nodes.
Wow. So, when you first got, I'm assuming you went back to the doctors. She called you back in after your mammogram, and then after your lumpectomy, or wow, a boat just went by us, so we're riding some pretty big waves right now. What was, can you go back to what your initial thought was? Like, you have just been told you have breast cancer. Like, how does one process that? What were you thinking?
Shock that it's not me, it's somebody else. Most of my adult life, I've always helped people. Being a hairdresser, people get cancer and they want me to shave their heads, or they just talk to me and stuff. And so I've talked to a lot of people that have gone through it, a lot of people in my family, both Shar and I. And it's just like, it's not me. I don't know.
How could it be?
Yeah.
Why me, not me?
Yeah.
Wow. You mentioned that you're a hairdresser. Do you think at all, first off, I know that you've been a hairdresser for a long time, 32 years in your own business of hairdressing. Do you think that contributed at all?
I do. I strongly do. Chemicals.
Hair dye, hairspray.
Yeah.
All of that. Perms.
Even the mousse and the shampoos, like everything I touch goes into my body through my skin.
Yeah,
And
that is true. And part of this journey, Marlene and I have done extensive research into natural modalities in keeping us healthy and bringing us from a place of sickness to health. But we, in those researching findings, you hear a lot about your skin is your largest organ. And so for Marlene, and I'm sure, you might be wearing gloves when you're doing a perm or something, but when you're tousling the hair or you've curled it and you're fixing it, your hands are touching and washing hair, washing and drying, rinsing out the stuff. So that's 32 years of absorption over and over, and that's not just like one time a day. You have several clients in a day. This was a business.
Like from 9 o'clock till 9 o'clock at night sometimes.
Wow.
So I don't honestly think it's the sole thing that gave me cancer, but I think it's a big contributor to all the other things.
For sure. Wow. So you ended up then being, I'm sure, referred to an oncologist, and a treatment plan was being set forth for you, which I know was chemotherapy and radiation. How long did you have to do that? Can you remember how many treatments? And tell us a little bit about like what that process was and going through.
First of all, I have to tell you that I have a big fear. The biggest fear in my life is being sick, and I don't know why I have that fear. There was never any trauma or anything, but it's always been something that I've had as far as I can remember.
Marlene means sick in terms of vomiting, which is a fear. I just want to say before she carries any further, I remember when I first found that out, I was like, what? And Marlene knows that one of my greatest fears is spiders. And she said, it's no different than, would you put a spider in your hand and hold it just to get over your fear? And I'm like, no, ixnay on that. And so, a fear is a fear is a fear, right? It's legitimate. So could you imagine knowing that you have this, what could potentially be a terminal illness, because you don't know at that stage. Third stage, you're one stage from the last stage. This is a progressive cancer. which has already metastasized to her lymph nodes. And then hearing that the treatment you're going to take has the potential, because we all hear about, chemotherapy. I seen my sister go through it, and she was sick, like vomiting sick for many years. So, carry on, Marlene. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. So when I did get to see my oncologist, that's what I told her. I told her my fear, and I said, I can't do chemo. There's no way I can do it. And she said, you don't have a choice. You have to do it.
Of course, that's Western medicine.
And what we know now, I mean,
Yeah.
but that was back then. I said, if you can promise me that I won't get sick, then yeah, I'll do it. And she said, I can do everything in my power to not let that happen. And praise God, I never got sick once.
Wow.
Not once.
How many treatments did you go through?
I had 6 treatments every 3 weeks.
Of chemo?
Of chemo, yeah. And
you lost your hair?
And I lost my hair after the first treatment. I think
Wow.
it was...
Let's just hold that for a second. Can you imagine that? Like, Mara is a hairdresser. I mean, and to any female, we all know, like, our hair is very important to us. So, I mean, not only were you hit with the challenge of having cancer, then the treatment posed challenges in the sense that it could ignite your greatest fears.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you go bald.
Yeah, everywhere. Not a stitch of hair anywhere on your body. Yeah. But the first time they gave me the treatment, and I think that's why I lost my hair so fast, is I think they over-treated me, because I ended up in the hospital for 5 days.
Wow.
And the next treatment was supposed to be in 3 weeks. They had to postpone it for my, I think it was white blood count or something, to go back up so that they could start the second treatment. So it was pretty brutal.
Wow. I think that's a crazy journey, and not a lot of people, I mean, we can say that we imagine it, but you really don't know unless you're going through it. And it's so sad, because cancer is so prevalent today. I mean, everybody knows somebody who has or had or is going through cancer. And I've questioned that a lot of times, specifically seeing how many family members Mara and I have who have been diagnosed or passed, sadly, from some kind of cancer diagnoses. And you question, like, why? Is it the environmental toxins? I largely believe that it has a lot to do with the foods that we're eating. So in lieu of not wanting to make this video drag out too long, I think we'll end Mara's cancer story here on a part 1, and we'll film part 2 soon. If you guys have anything specific that you want to know, Mara's super happy to answer that, and it's easier to do that if you just drop your questions in the comment box. And so thank you, Mara, for being so transparent and sharing what was a difficult and challenging time in your life. And for now, we'll say, I'm Shar.
And I'm
not.
I'm Shar. And I'm Mar. Stay tuned.
On back and relax. Kick your pretty feet up on my dash. No need to go.